Hello, my friends, hello, and welcome once again to stately Vaughan Manor. And it is that time again. Yes, it is time to make plans. Plans I can't possibly accomplish. Yes, it is the September book plans video. Every month I have a plans video, a pile of possibilities, which are actually a pile of impossibilities usually. So yes, it's that time again. What will I be reading this month? It's The Stand by Stephen King. Okay, guys, thanks for stopping by here at Stately Vaughan. Whoa, you want me to talk more? Okay, I will just for you. So, here's the thing. First of all, last month. Let's talk a little bit about last month, August. I had many plans for August before I even knew about Book Trek 2021. And then Book Trek 2021 floated in and photon torpedoed all of my plans. Because in August I had that made two read-along things that I had going on. I had the Herodotus readathon, and then Book Trek 2021 came along, and all these other reading projects I've got going on at the same time. The first week of August was smooth sailing. Everything went great, no craziness, worked 8 hours a day, got sleep, everything worked fine. And so I was able to finish Herodotus and start on the Book Trek books that I was reading. I was going to read all of the James Blish Star Trek readers. There are 4 of them. I ended up reading 2 because the following 3 weeks of August were a disaster. Just crazy. So many of my plans fell through. I was able to read the Edgar Rice Burroughs books for my great Edgar Rice Burroughs reread, but my Frank Herbert-a-thon, poor Dune Messiah, it keeps getting kicked further and further into the future. Didn't get to that. Didn't get to my vintage science fiction, which I really want to get to. Worst of all, I wasn't able to read Vampire, which I think that's how you pronounce it. Vampire, I don't know. But it's the second Necroscope book. And the first Necroscope book was awesome. So I really wanted to read this one. So all of my regular projects, except for Edgar Rice Burroughs, have gotten kicked into the future. Because I'm not getting to them this month. It's not happening. And I probably won't get to the Edgar Rice Burroughs books I want to read this month. I might, but it's looking unlikely. That would be The Warlord of Mars, 3rd book in the Barsoom series, and the 3rd Tarzan book, The Beasts of Tarzan by Edgar Rice Burroughs. It's unlikely I'll get to those. So, all of these guys are getting kicked into the future, unfortunately, because this thing is 1,440 pages long. And if this month goes anything like last month, and it might, we'll see. This is a few books all in one book. And this is the big one. This is my big reading project. If I want to read all of Stephen King's books, which I have vowed to do before I'm dead, I gotta keep going with this one. But I also have the Book Trek. And here's my problem. So, James Fetcho is a musician who makes YouTube videos of his fabulous guitar work. And he has been a loyal viewer of my ridiculous channel, and he's always commenting on my videos, and has been since I very first started. Because he reads a lot of the same stuff I do. And so I've learned that when James Fetcho recommends a book to you, it's going to be a good book. And so he said, I can't believe you've never read David Gemmell. And so I said, okay, I'll order a David Gemmell book. So I found out what the first David Gemmell novel was, and it's this one, Legend. And then he's like, no, that's in the middle of a series. I'm like, but it's his first book. And he's like, yeah, but it's part of a series and you have to read the whole series in order. And I'm like, fine, I'll order whatever the first book in the series was. And I did. But I had this one lying around and I'm like, you know what? I might as well just find out, how this guy writes. So I'll just read a little bit of the prologue here. So I just read the prologue. Okay, well, maybe I'll just read maybe a little bit of the first chapter. I'm not going to really read the book. I'm just reading a little bit out of the book. So, yeah, I'm reading this book now. I'm not supposed to. It's not the first in the series. And it wasn't part of what I was going to read this month, because I got to read The Stand. But this book's pretty damn good. So I'm reading this book. Don't blame me. Blame James Fetcho. That's what I'm doing. Even though he told me not to read it. He told me to read. I'm still reading it. Whether I should or not. I shouldn't. I've got too much else going on. But I'm reading it because it's pretty darn good. So I have to read that. There are a couple things I have to read. This is one of them. Then it is Book Track 2021. And so this is the one it's The Next Generation. This month is Star Trek The Next Generation. So I'm going to read this one, Ghost Ship, which is the first Star Trek The Next Generation novel. I don't know how soon this was written. I don't know if the TV show had been out or hadn't been out, or if the writer, Diane Carey, had seen the show or not. But she's supposed to be a good Star Trek writer, according to Steve Donahue, and he would know. Yeah, I'll read Ghost Ship, Star Trek The Next Generation. This is the one Book Trek book that I'm committed to this month, because it might only be one. Because I've also got a read-along I'm doing with Revenant Reads of Rebecca, a book I really, really want to read, by Daphne du Maurier, Rebecca. I've been wanting to read this one for a while, and it is that time coming up this month. So I've got those things. And this gigantic book. This will take 2 weeks if I read 100 pages of it a day. It seems unlikely I'm actually going to finish this book this month. I'll probably start this book and then finish it next month, which sucks because I have a giant book to read next month too, which isn't Stephen King. So all this other stuff that I really, really want to read, because it's all stuff I've committed to reading. If only I were Steve Donahue and can read as fast as Data and had plenty of time and didn't have to sleep. As it is, I have to sleep. I just don't sleep that much. So the main things this month looks like. And my plans tend to fall apart, so we'll see. This one I'm reading, because I'm already reading it. Whether I should or not, and I shouldn't. Ghost Ship for Book Trek. Rebecca, along with Revenant Reads. And this big guy. We'll see. We'll see how this works out. If I have 4 clean weeks of no nonsense, no insanity, I should be all right. Now, on top of all that, I have another thing I'm doing for Book Trek, which is I'm going to be reading comic books based on each series. Although I don't know if there was ever a comic book based on Enterprise, Star Trek Enterprise. Was there a comic book based on Enterprise? I'm going to have to look that up. I'm not sure. Pretty sure there was one on Voyager and Deep Space Nine. In fact, I'm certain there were comics off those. But I don't know about Enterprise. But I did get the best of Star Trek The Next Generation. Supposed to be the best. This was from DC Comics, because DC Comics originally published Star Trek The Next Generation. Pretty great cover, actually. So, yeah. And then I'll read. This shouldn't take long to read, because it's a comic book. And so, yeah, I do have that on top of my other plans. And then all this stuff, David Wiley's going to be mad at me, because He's reading these along with me, but sorry, David. I will catch up. You know what I was thinking of doing next year is, because I'm going to have plenty of stuff I should have read and haven't. I'm just going to like devote a month where I like read Stephen King, and then everything else will be one of these projects. Like I'll read maybe 3 Frank Herbert books and a Stephen King, or 5 Edgar Rice Burroughs books or something. Just trying to catch up. We'll see how it works out. We'll see. I'm not going to join any read-alongs next year except for Book Trek 2022. Definitely going to do that one. So yeah, those are my impossible plans. And they're all impossible because of this giant. Why does Stephen King have to make this so big? But I am looking forward to reading this. The Stand. I can't see finishing it this month. It just seems unlikely. So yeah, basically 4 books. Awesome. Okay, guys. I will catch you tomorrow, hopefully. I'm hopefully going to have my The Return of Tarzan video up tomorrow. That was a good book. That was fun to read. And yeah, so I will see you tomorrow. You guys have a great day.